I'm back for another Tim Talk. I want to start this talk with a reminder. The ultimate goal of all of these talks is to help us to connect more deeply with the earth so that we will take action, take on becoming earth caretakers, and work for our planet to be healthy again, and thus all of us and all life to be healthy again, including all of this. That being said, I wanted the subject of this talk to be, why do we kill what we love? Strange, huh? Sounds weird, doesn't it? Why do we kill what we love? And we human beings, we're a top predator, probably the top predator. And so we've done a lot of killing over time of our fellow earthlings, other animals that live on the planet besides us, as well as we're the only animal that I know of that kills each other. That is something to look at. But I thought about this subject because I was thinking the other day, back in the years ago when I lived up in the Santa Cruz Mountains, I was reading a book about the California grizzly bear. The California grizzly bear they were up to 2,000 pounds. They were like the size of a big cow. And they lived all over the state of California. They were as big or bigger than those giant grizzlies that live, the Kodiak bears that live up in Alaska. And they wandered all over the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, the Santa Cruz area of Santa Cruz Mountains, and all over the state. They were all over the state. And when first the Indians lived in harmony with them. I mean, they killed a few for food, I'm sure, and for their hides. The grizzlies probably killed a few Indians for their acorn stashes. But life was fairly harmonious. Most often, more often than not, they probably left each other alone. And then the Spanish came along. And the Spanish not only started killing off the Indian people, but they systematically started killing the grizzly bears. And then the miners came along, the gold miners. And they were raping the environment for gold with no consciousness. And they were killing the Indians. And they finished off most of the grizzly bears. The last California grizzly bear died in the Santa Cruz Mountains somewhere in the middle 1800s. And a man took me up to a tree up on a road called Empire Grade. It was a giant 500-year-old, 600-year-old oak tree. And he said that's where the last grizzly was killed, in the Santa Cruz Mountains. I think the very last grizzly was killed in 1920-something near Fresno, California. But Santa Cruz was a huge grizzly place. And I remember I sat down under that tree, and it was a magnificent oak. And immediately the oak tree let me know it missed the grizzlies. And it started to flood me with stories and memories of as the grizzlies feeding on the acorns that the oak would drop 300, 400 years ago. And it showed me visions of the Indian people coming and collecting the acorns for their food, and the interaction between the two. And man, tears started to roll. And I remember I sat under that tree and I cried for, it seemed like ages. Just belly cry from the deep belly. And I realized too at this time, I took in that my power animal, my animal counterpart is the California grizzly bear. So I was feeling it even more on a deep level. I have a lot of grizzly bear-like ways about me. I've talked about power animals, so some of you might have already heard that talk. And after I cried and sat there for some time, I couldn't fix it. When I think about global warming, I think about we still have a chance of fixing the problems we have. There will be a point when we can't, though. It will be too late. But now we still have a chance. It's small, but we have a chance. But I couldn't bring the grizzly back there. The last one was killed. And I thought, too, as much as it can kind of be scary to go into the woods where grizzly bears live, it's also an incredibly humbling experience to be a predator like a human in the woods and know that there's something else there that can also eat you. That changes the dynamics. And that was missing from that spot. There was a oak tree with a story to tell. There was an oak forest with a story to tell. But there was no grizzly. And hence, that ultra awareness that comes with being in the presence of predators was not there with me. That it's a form of enlightenment in a way. It wakes you up to the deeper parts of nature, to know that a wolf or a bear could be watching you, or a mountain lion or something, that you could run into one. It's a certain type of medicine that wasn't on that land anymore. And the land itself missed it. It was missing from the land. The land missed it. The trees missed it. The other animals missed it. And so I go back to this as an example. And I couldn't fix this. I couldn't bring the bear back. I did do a meditation, and I went deep into the different layers of the spirit world that day in the woods. And I was told something interesting. I was told that there's another layer of existence, not physical, where animals like this bear, the grizzly bears, are waiting for their chance to return again to the earth, either as another animal or as a grizzly or in some other form. But their essence, their true presence, their souls, if you will, are there. But we both know human beings just don't do well with other predators. 99% of all grizzlies were wiped out by 1900 from all over the United States, Canada, and Alaska. And the only ones left in the lower states were the national parks of Yellowstone and Glacier. And there were some in Canada and quite a few in Alaska. And those places still have a good bear population. But 90+%, we human beings, our ancestors, shot and killed and wiped out. That's telling the truth. And that's just one species of animal, the bear, the grizzly bear. So I go back to the beginning of this talk. Why do we kill what we love? And you know, an argument might be, well, I don't love grizzlies. They can kill me. But we all love grizzlies. Everybody enjoys watching the great David Attenborough and the beautiful films and photographs of the animals. And we may not want to have an encounter with a grizzly, but it's a wonderful thing to know that other living wild things share this planet with us and keep that wild essence alive and help us to heighten our awareness. But we kill what we love. And ultimately, that's our earth. And ultimately, that's ourselves, our families. That's our children's children, and their children, and their children, and their children. Ultimately, if we don't care for our planet, we're robbing our children, and their children, and their children, and their children, their children, of a future. Now that is insane, guys. Come on. Who wants that? So why do we do it? Now, I don't have the answer necessarily. I have many thoughts, but I'm going to leave it at that right now and ask you to think about that. And if you come up with some good answers, why do we do it? Why do we kill what we love? Then take it to the next step and be a part of changing that. Some of the greatest movements in human history have started with one person with one idea, and boom, they go from there. And I just want to wrap this talk up by saying, I do miss the grizzly bear. And I have been able to be in the presence of wild bears in Canada and Alaska, and very close up. But as I sit here on this land right now that I love so much, and I know many grizzlies roam this land, they're not here now. But I can still feel their essence in the land. The trees hold the memory. My ancestors have the memory. And hopefully someday we'll be able to care for our planet in a way that will invite the bears back. Thank you. Oh.